Let's talk about why the 7 areas of greatness, a success journal and planning tool, can really help you. But today we're going to be talking about business, okay? So before we go any further, you don't have to purchase this because I have a lot of training that is at jline.network. Jline.network. There's free training videos that talk all about this book. And it's actually a success journal and training tool, we call it, or planning tool. And it's really about 7 areas. One of those areas is business. So let's talk about that today. Business, career, and calling. Let's talk about it. Now, here at the J-Line Network, we have what we call the J-Line Experience for Maximizing Potential, which is our life, health, and business coaching. The channel really here, we want to develop it into business coaching. We've been helping people start businesses for years. And if you haven't started a business yet, you're missing out. You might say, hey, I don't know what kind of business I would start. I don't know what I would do. And I don't want to do business or run a business because I have other stuff going on. I have my job and all kinds of stuff. Well, let me tell you, when I was operating 10 restaurants, okay, this was a heavy deal, by the way, 10 different restaurants. Being there at 6 in the morning until 11 at night, not that I was there at one restaurant, but I would open one, close another, travel around each and every day, almost 100 hours a week. I still had some time that I had on the side to develop multiple streams of income and actually replace the income that I was making with that company. And I was able to walk away and say, see ya, from that company, basically because I replaced that income. And one thing that people do, I think that they don't realize, is a lot of times people say no to opportunities. You might say, no, I never say no to opportunities. Well, when it comes to business or operating a business or having a business, I think a lot of people say it'll take too much time or it won't make enough money or it'll cost too much money, right? What if I told you for less than like $2,500 you can start a business? What if I told you less than $500 you could start a business? What if I told you if you had $100 you can start a business? And you might be like, okay, I'll do that, but it'll probably take too much time for me to operate it. Well, that's what this business coaching that we do is all about. It's all about developing multiple streams of income, starting multiple businesses. Now, most people would say, hey, I got a job. I'm working 9 to 5 or 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week, whatever you're working. Maybe you have more than one job and you're working, right? Did you know, and this is something that a lot of people don't know, whatever you're making, just think about this. Whatever you're making, whatever the company is paying you, and this changed my life, and I realized it was true, by the way. Whatever the company is paying you, I want you to times that by 4. So let's say you make $50,000 a year. I know that's not a lot, but just for easy math, you make $50,000 a year, and if you times that by 4, that's $200,000 a year. Well, this is the thing that most people don't know about the companies. Whatever you are making is 25% of what you are generating for that company. Now, you might say, no, that can't be true. No, that wouldn't be true. But I want you to think about it. It's basic business. Don't take it personal. It's business. If you can generate $200,000 for the company that you're working for, basically on what you do, you're doing $200,000 worth of revenue, they're going to give you 25% of that revenue. So you might say, whoa, does that mean if I do my own business and I'm able to generate 25% of the business that they have, that I can have my own business and be making the same amount of money? Yeah, that's kind of what it is. But the point of that I'm getting at is you're spending a lot of your time, a lot of your effort, and you're making 75% profit when they give you your 25%, okay? Now that's great. If you believe in the company and you love the company, you love your job, you love the stability, the security, and all of that, I'm not saying to leave that. I'm not saying leave your job. But what I am saying is, what if your job was able to be done for your own business? Now, I'm not saying steal ideas or do your own company. That's the same thing. But what I am saying is, what is your passion? What is something that you want to do? something that you see a need and you're like, man, I wish there was a business that does this. And of course, we could go over and we go over with our coaching all kinds of different business opportunities that you could do for very minimal, not only money investment, but time investment. I think that's the key. A lot of times people have a lot of money, but their time broke. And sometimes people have a lot of time, but their money broke, right? So what is a good balance where it's not costing you a lot of time, but it's also not costing you a lot of money? A few moments ago, I was talking about why people say no to opportunity, why people just don't do or take a chance or take a risk. Yeah, okay, it's risk, but this is the number one thing I think why people don't take opportunity, because it's not enough for them. Like for instance, if you had to spend 1 hour a day and you were able to generate $200 a month, right? And you did 1 hour a day and $200 a month, you're like, well, you know what? That's not really worth it. What if it was 1 hour a week? 1 hour a week for $200 a month, that's $50 an hour. I mean, would you want to do that? But I think what people do is they look at the end result. $200 a month? Nah, I'll pass. You know, $300, $500, $800 a month? Nah, I'll pass. What if there was something that can generate $835 a month and you only had to work 2 or 3 hours a month? That would be great, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be great? Now, a lot of times people say they look at the $835. Nah, it's not enough to pay my bills. Now, what if, and this is what we do with our 12-month payout system that's part of our experience that we have here with our life, health, and business coaching. If you were able to generate $835 a month and you had 12 different incomes, now you might say, whoa, 12 different incomes? Just as an example that there's 12 months, okay? It doesn't mean that you, like maybe one income is bringing in half that and another income is bringing in double that, right? And so for instance, you don't necessarily have to have 12, but if you had a 12-month payout system that each business that you have or each stream of income that you have has 1 year that you make that month by month by month, $835 every single month, but you don't actually need the money because you're still working your job, you're still living, but what happens is this business that you have that you started in February, after 1 year goes by, it's time for February, you're able to see how much money did I make from this business in 1 year. Well, $835 a month times 12 is $10,000 for that income or for that month. Now imagine you do a business and you say, hey, this is my business that I started in February, so I'm paying out in February, and every February you had an extra $10,000 a month. And then in March, you started another business, and then it goes from March to March, and then in March you have another $10,000 a month, and then April, May, you start an income that generates income, a business that generates income each month, but it's a year long. So even if it was just $200 a month, what would happen if you had an extra $2,400 that came in that year or, after 1 year for that month? Can you use an extra $2,400? I think a lot of times people say if it's only $200 a month, it's not worth my time. But if you think about it in month or 12-month payout system, that's kind of what we do. We do a 12-month payout system where you're generating money each month. And that money actually, depending on your business and how you want to do it, it can actually, because you're not using it, you can park it in some high yield account and just wait and then pull it out where it can generate more wealth for you. So in other words, if you imagine giving $200 a month that a business is making you $200 a month, and you're just putting it in like a dividend stock or something, and every month that dividend stock is paying out, or every quarter that dividend stock is paying out. And then after the the year goes by, you're like, hey, I think I'll take it or I'll leave it. But eventually that dividend stock becomes part of your income, and that becomes a whole nother business that you're doing, a holdings company that's just holding some stocks that's paying you. And as that grows, now you might say, hey Brian, I have my 401k, my company matches, I don't really need to do any of that because I'm taken care of. But did you know, a lot of times your 401k, you leave the company, you can roll it over, whatever, but a lot of times you can't get that money until you're 65 or until a certain age, right? You can't get it in 1 year. So doing stuff like this on the side is like whatever your 401k is. I would challenge you, I would challenge anybody. If you're doing your 401k and you have a company that matches it, yeah, sure, max out your match. But then take the same amount that you're maxing out your match and put it aside into another account where you are generating income that you have access to, right? It's nice to have it for the future, but what about now or 1 year from now? Okay, so think about, when you think about the future, if you're trying to retire and retire at 65, what about 64? Do you have the year 64 paid for? And do you have the year 63 paid for, and 62 and 60? And so the idea is, as you're moving towards retirement, retirement should be moving towards you. But most people only just put everything into their retirement account. And you know what? That date is 65 or whatever it is that you're going to retire. What if today you determined that you were going to have multiple streams of income, and those multiple streams of income are not only going to support you in your life and have little side hustles or little side incomes that maybe seasonal, maybe it's not every month, but if you averaged it out per month for the whole year, what would it bring in each year? And what if you started working on, okay, today, if I invest money today or this year for when I was 64, right? And you're still taking care of 65 and beyond, but just take care of the year 64 when you're 64 years old. Then take care of the year when you're like, think about how many years that is. You know, a lot of times you could put aside a couple $1,000s this year, and depending on your age, what will that couple $1,000s be when you're 64 years old? That's what I'm saying. You could take care of your future. And like I said, as you're moving towards retirement, retirement should be moving towards you. This is stuff we talk about. So if you would, go over to the website, jline.network. Get yourself one of these if you like, or watch the free training videos of the 7 areas of greatness. We talked a little bit about business. There is a lot about business in here, about developing a goal and a purpose, a statement about your business, your career, and your calling. Now remember, those could be two different things. You can have a career, but you can also have a calling that's totally different. Sometimes people are in a career that is their calling, and that's great too. But the idea is, go watch the free training. And again, you're not obligated to buy this. It is really free training of each of these 7 areas. Go over and you'll scroll down. You'll see this book. Right under this book, you'll see the training for each of the 7 areas of greatness. Thanks for watching this. And until next time, don't forget to just watch J-Line, but be a J-Line. If you get into it, you'll know what that means. See ya.